The night that broke the family. The happiest night of my life turned into the night I learned my own sister was my greatest enemy. My name is Ava. I always believed families fight, but they don't betray each other in ways that can never be undone. I was wrong. I grew up in a quiet town in Pennsylvania, the kind of place where everyone knows your name and pretends everything is fine. Our house looked normal from the outside. Clean yard, family dinners, holiday photos framed on the wall. But inside, there was always tension, small, silent, and waiting. My younger sister Lily was the heart of the family. She was loud, funny, and dramatic. People noticed her the moment she walked into a room. I was the opposite. I listened more than I spoke. I helped without asking for praise. When Lily caused trouble, my parents said, "She's just emotional." When I made a mistake, it became a lesson I never lived down. I learned early to stay calm and stay kind. As we grew older, the distance between us became clearer. Lily hated sharing attention. She hated comparisons, even the ones she imagined. I never tried to compete with her, but she treated my quiet success like a threat. When I met Ethan, everything changed for me. He was steady, honest, and gentle in a way I wasn't used to. He saw me, not as the responsible sister, not as the quiet one, but as someone worth choosing. When he proposed, I felt safe in a way I never had before. Lily smiled when I told her, but her eyes didn't. The months before the wedding were tense. She made small comments, jokes that felt sharp, complaints about the dress, the venue, the guest list. I ignored it. I always did. I believed love meant patience. My wedding day arrived bright and warm. The ceremony was beautiful. When Ethan held my hands and said his vows, I cried without shame. I felt proud, chosen, loved. For once, I felt like I belonged. At the reception, Lily drank more than usual. She laughed too loud. She leaned into conversations that weren't hers. I noticed, but I told myself not to worry. It was my wedding night. I didn't want shadows on a perfect day. That was my mistake. Late that night, after hugs and goodbyes, I went back to the hotel room to change. My dress felt heavy. My feet hurt. I was tired in the best way. Ethan said he'd help his parents with their bags and come up soon. I was alone when my phone buzzed. A message from Lily. "We need to talk now." Before I could respond, the door opened. She walked in like she owned the room. She didn't look drunk anymore. Her smile was calm, practiced, controlled. That scared me more than anger ever could. "What are you doing here?" I asked. She closed the door behind her, slowly. "I couldn't let tonight end without being honest," she said. My heart started pounding. She walked around the room touching things, my flowers, my veil, my shoes, like she was inspecting evidence. "I did you a favor," she said. I asked her to leave. She ignored me. "I told Ethan who you really are." The room felt smaller, like the air had been pulled out. She started listing things. Lies mixed with moments from our childhood, twisted stories, half-truths said with confidence. She spoke calmly, like she had practiced this speech many times. "You always thought you were better than me," she said quietly. "Tonight, I fixed that." I told her to stop. I told her she was wrong. I told her she was ruining everything. She smiled. "That's the point." She walked past me and left without looking back. I stood there shaking, still in my wedding dress, trying to understand what just happened. Minutes later, Ethan came into the room. His face wasn't angry. It was worse. Confused, hurt, distant. He didn't accuse me. He didn't shout. He just said he needed to think. On our wedding night. I watched him sit on the edge of the bed, silent. The space between us felt endless. I wanted to scream. I wanted to chase Lily down the hallway. I wanted my parents to step in like they always did when things went too far. But no one came. That night, I sat alone in the bathroom, still wearing white, mascara running down my face. I looked at myself in the mirror and barely recognized the woman staring back. That was the moment something inside me changed. I realized Lily didn't just want attention, she wanted my place, my happiness, my future. And she believed she could destroy it without consequence. She thought I would stay quiet, that I would protect her like I always had. She was wrong, because that night didn't end my marriage. It ended my loyalty. And from that moment on, I stopped being the sister who stayed silent. The morning after my wedding, I woke up knowing silence would destroy me faster than any lie ever could. I barely slept. The hotel room felt cold even with the sun coming through the curtains. My wedding dress hung on the closet door like a reminder of something that already felt far away. Ethan was there, but not really. He moved quietly, like someone trying not to disturb a fragile moment. We didn't fight. That hurt more. He told me he loved me, but his voice was careful. He said Lily's words confused him, not because he believed her fully, but because she sounded prepared, certain, like someone who had waited a long time to speak. I told him everything. Slowly, clearly. I didn't cry this time. I explained my childhood, Lily's need for attention, the small cuts that never healed. I told him she hated sharing anything that wasn't hers. Ethan listened. He didn't interrupt. "I need time," he said again. "Not because I don't trust you, because I need to understand how someone could do that to you." That was fair. What wasn't fair was what happened next. When we went downstairs for breakfast, my parents were already there. Lily sat between them, eyes red, wrapped in a sweater like she was the victim. My mother rushed to her first. "Oh, sweetheart," she said, pulling Lily into a hug. "You shouldn't have carried this alone." I stood there in silence, still wearing my wedding ring. My dad finally looked at me. His face was tight. "Why didn't you tell us there were problems?" he asked. I almost laughed. Lily sniffed and said, "I didn't want to ruin the wedding, but Ava has always had secrets." That was the moment I realized something painful. They were choosing her again. Not because they knew the truth, but because it was easier. I tried to speak. My mom cut me off. "Let's not make this worse," she said. "We need peace right now." Peace. The word they always used when they wanted me quiet. I walked away from the table without another word. Ethan followed me later. He didn't defend Lily, but he didn't fight my parents either. He was stuck in a family storm he never asked for. That day should have been about us. Instead, it became about damage control. Over the next few days, Lily controlled the story. She cried to relatives. She sent long messages about how hard it was to tell the truth. She said she was protecting Ethan, protecting the family. My parents believed her. Or maybe they just didn't want to admit they raised someone capable of doing this. Ethan and I moved into our apartment in silence. We talked, but carefully, like stepping on glass. He watched me closely, not with doubt, but with fear of being wrong. That hurt almost as much as the lies. One night, after Ethan fell asleep, I opened my laptop. I started reading old messages, years of texts, emails, photos. I wasn't looking for revenge. I was looking for truth. And I found it. Messages where Lily hinted at things she wanted to take from me, old jokes that weren't jokes, comments about Ethan's job, his looks, his attention. She had always crossed lines, just never this openly. I saved everything. Not to post, not to threaten, just to protect myself. A week later, my parents invited us over to talk. Lily was already there. She apologized without apologizing. "I'm sorry if the timing was bad, but some things can't stay hidden forever." My mom nodded like she was proud. I looked at my parents and asked one question. "Do you believe her?" My dad didn't answer. That was the answer. I stood up and said calmly, "I won't fight for a place where I'm already guilty." Lily smirked. I left. That night, Ethan told me something that shocked me. "Your sister contacted my old boss," he said. "She asked questions about you, about us." My chest tightened. That wasn't jealousy. That was obsession. I realized then that Lily didn't just want to hurt me emotionally. She wanted control over the story, over my marriage, over how everyone saw me. And my parents were helping her. I made a decision. I wasn't going to yell. I wasn't going to beg. I wasn't going to expose her publicly. I was going to let her cross the line one more time. Because people like Lily always do. And when she did, I would be ready. This wasn't about revenge driven by anger. It was about ending a pattern. And it was only beginning. I didn't plan revenge that night. I planned survival. And that scared her more than anger ever could. After leaving my parents' house, I cut contact. No calls, no messages, no explanations. For the first time in my life, I chose myself without asking permission. That silence bothered Lily more than any argument ever had. People like her need reactions. They need proof they still matter. At first, Ethan and I focused on fixing what was cracked between us. We went on long walks, late-night talks. I answered every hard question honestly, even when it hurt. Slowly, the tension eased. Trust doesn't return in one moment. It returns in small pieces. But Lily wasn't done. She started showing up everywhere. At family events she knew I'd attend, at places near our apartment. She liked my old social media posts from years ago, late at night, like a reminder that she was watching. Then she sent Ethan a message. "I'm worried about Ava," it read. "She isn't stable right now." That was the moment I stopped pretending this would end on its own. I knew Lily. She would keep pushing until she forced a reaction big enough to use against me. She wanted me angry, loud, unreasonable. So I did the opposite. I documented everything. Every message, every call, every place she showed up by accident. I saved screenshots and timestamps. I wrote notes. Not emotional ones, clear ones, simple ones. I didn't tell Ethan at first. I didn't want him pulled into another fight. But when Lily emailed his company HR department asking personal questions about his marriage, I showed him everything. That scared him. "This isn't normal," he said quietly. No, it wasn't. A week later, Lily called me crying. She said she wanted to fix things. She said she missed her sister. She said she felt guilty. I agreed to meet her for coffee. Public place, cameras everywhere. She arrived early. She hugged me like nothing had happened. "I just want us to be close again," she said. I smiled. I nodded. I listened. She talked and talked. And then she slipped. She admitted she'd contacted Ethan's work. She said she only wanted to warn them. She joked about how easy it was to make people believe her. She didn't know my phone was recording. Not secretly, legally. I didn't smile when I left. I went straight to a lawyer. Not to sue, not yet. To understand my options. The lawyer listened carefully. He told me what I already knew. "Your sister is crossing legal lines," he said. harassment, interference, defamation. Hearing those words felt strange, heavy, real. This wasn't family drama anymore. This was documented behavior. A few days later, Lily escalated again. She posted vague messages online about toxic people and dangerous lies. Friends started messaging me, confused. Some believed her, some didn't. My parents called. They asked me to stop provoking Lily. That's when I knew they would never protect me. So I protected myself. The lawyer sent Lily a formal cease and desist letter. Clear, calm, professional. No emotion. She lost it. She called me screaming. She sent dozens of texts. She accused me of betrayal. She said I was ruining the family. I didn't reply. Then she made her biggest mistake. She contacted Ethan directly again, this time threatening to expose proof if he didn't leave me. He forwarded everything. That night, I slept peacefully for the first time in weeks, because now it wasn't just my word, it was evidence. And Lily had built it all herself. Revenge doesn't always look like fire. Sometimes it looks like patience, and the trap only works when the other person is too sure they've already won. The moment my sister realized I wasn't afraid anymore was the moment her control began to collapse. The cease and desist letter changed everything. Lily stopped pretending. The sweet messages disappeared. The crying calls turned into rage. She showed up at my parents' house every day, telling them I was threatening her, that I had changed, that I was trying to destroy the family. My parents believed her. At least, they said they did. But belief looks different when proof enters the room. Ethan and I stayed quiet. We didn't argue online. We didn't respond to messages. Silence, backed by facts, is powerful. It gives people space to reveal who they really are. Lily couldn't handle it. She sent one last long email to me, Ethan, my parents, and several relatives. In it, she claimed I was unstable, jealous, and dangerous. She accused me of planning to ruin her future. She even hinted that Ethan was in danger around me. That email was the line. Not emotionally, legally. We forwarded everything to the lawyer. Within days, Lily was formally warned. She was told to stop contacting us, to stop spreading lies, to stop interfering in our lives. She didn't listen. She never had before. One evening, she showed up outside our apartment. She didn't knock. She waited. When Ethan and I left to get groceries, she confronted us in the parking lot. She yelled. She cried. She accused me of stealing everything from her. People watched. Someone recorded. Security cameras caught it all. The next morning, my lawyer called. "We're filing," he said. It wasn't revenge. It was protection. The legal process was slow but steady. Lily had to answer for her actions. The messages, the emails, the recording at the cafe, the parking lot video. It wasn't one big moment. It was a pattern. Patterns don't lie. My parents were shocked. Not because of what Lily did, but because they were finally forced to see it laid out in order. They visited us, quietly, nervous. My mother cried. My father didn't speak much. "She didn't mean for it to go this far," my mom said. I answered calmly. She didn't stop it either. That was the hardest truth for them. Lily lost more than she expected. Her job placed her on leave after receiving legal notices connected to her harassment. Friends stepped back. Some apologized to me privately. Others stayed silent. The family gatherings stopped including her. Not because I asked, because she made them impossible. Ethan stood by me through all of it. The stress, the waiting, the moments where I felt guilty for standing up for myself. "You didn't break the family," he told me one night. You just stopped covering for the person who was breaking it. That changed something inside me. Lily tried once more to reach me through a mutual friend. I said no. No more meetings, no more chances, no more protecting her image. The final notice came weeks later. If she contacted us again, it would become a criminal matter. For the first time in her life, Lily faced consequences she couldn't talk her way out of. She didn't lose her future because I hated her. She lost it because she refused to stop. And my parents? They had to live with what they ignored. I didn't feel joy. I felt peace. And peace was something Lily never gave me. The night my sister crossed the final line didn't just end her lies. It ended the version of me that kept forgiving. By the time everything settled, my wedding felt like it had happened years ago. Life moved forward, but differently. Quieter. Stronger. I wasn't the same girl who once begged her family to see her pain. I didn't need them to understand anymore. The legal case didn't end with a dramatic courtroom scene. There was no shouting, no public apology. Real endings are rarely loud. They are final. Lily signed the agreement. No contact, no lies, no more games. She lost her job soon after, not because I asked for it, because companies don't like legal trouble tied to harassment and false claims. Her reputation followed her faster than she could run from it. Friends stopped calling, invitations dried up. The spotlight she always chased turned into a shadow she couldn't escape. For the first time in her life, Lily had to face herself without an audience. My parents tried to repair things with me, slowly. Awkward dinners, careful words, regret that came too late to change the past, but enough to soften the future. "We failed you," my father finally said one evening. I nodded. "Yes," I replied, "but I'm done paying for it." That was the boundary. They learned to respect it or lose me too. Ethan and I built our life without drama. Our home became a place of calm, not tension. No whispers, no fear of surprise attacks, just honesty. Sometimes people ask if I regret it, if I regret standing up, if I regret protecting myself, if I regret my sister losing everything. I don't, because regret belongs to people who stay silent too long. I didn't ruin my sister's future. She handed it over piece by piece, every lie, every betrayal, every moment she chose control over love. What did I gain? My name back, my peace back, my voice back. I stopped shrinking to make others comfortable. I stopped apologizing for existing. I stopped being the quiet one who took the blame to keep the peace. Revenge didn't come from destroying her. It came from refusing to let her destroy me again. The family that once looked at me as disposable now treats me with care, not because they suddenly changed, but because they know I won't tolerate being erased. And Lily? She lives with the truth she avoided for years, that power doesn't come from manipulation. It comes from character. On my wedding anniversary, Ethan asked me something simple. "Are you happy?" I smiled, not because everything was perfect, but because I was finally free. And that was something my sister could never take from me, no matter how hard she tried. The end.